Hi guys, in this episode we are going to learn about protocols in Swift 3. So most of the iOS developers interact with protocols under two scenarios. The first one is while implementing delegate pattern, okay, we used to create a protocol, okay, and second scenario is while implementing some existing protocol like table view delegate and data source protocol, okay. But in Swift, protocols can be widely used for other purposes, okay. So you must know that Swift is the first protocol oriented programming language which makes protocols more valuable, okay. So so it's totally okay if you don't know what protocol oriented programming is, because at the end of this episode you will have a good idea about it. Okay, so in this episode we will start with the basics of the protocol. What is protocol, how we can create a protocol, and how other classes can implement a protocol. Okay, and then we will move to the deeper concepts of the protocol. So protocol basically defines a set of functions and properties, and these functions and properties are implemented by the type which adopts the protocol. So we should focus on the word defines here, okay, because we can only define a function or a property inside a protocol. We can't implement a function and property inside a protocol, and these functions and properties that are defined inside our protocol are implemented by a class or a struct or a enum which adopts the protocol. Okay, so let's do these things practically to have a better understanding. Okay, so let's create a class first. This is our playground. Okay, class name my class. Okay, in a similar way we can create a protocol. We just have to replace the keyword class with the keyword protocol. Okay, protocol, let's name it my protocol. Okay, so here's my protocol and here's my class. According to the definition, a class can adopt a protocol. Okay, so let's see the syntax how my class can adopt the protocol. My protocol is very simple. Just after the name of the class, write colon and write the name of the protocol you want to implement. Okay, so now my class adopts the protocol, my protocol. Okay, so again, according to the definition, protocols can have properties. Okay, so let's create one. Let's create a string property. Okay, string. So it is showing me error. Why? Because I told you to focus on this word define. We can only define a property inside our protocol, and here by writing this we are initializing our property str. Okay, so we can't do that. So let's just simply define the property. Okay, still it's showing error again. Okay, what's the reason? The reason is while declaring a property, okay, defining a property inside a protocol, we need to specify if it's a readable property or if it's a readable writable property. Okay, so to define specify this, we just put the keyword get or get set inside the curly braces. Okay, so get means readable property and get set means both readable writable property. Okay, so we have created a property inside our protocol, but now it's showing error on my class. Okay, let's see what's the error. The error says type my class does not conform to protocol my protocol. Okay, why? Because again, let's go to the definition. I told you we define the properties inside our protocol, but these properties are implemented by the type which adopts the protocol. Okay, so here the type is class. Okay, my class adopts the protocol, so but it didn't implemented the property defined in our protocol. Okay, so what we have to do, we just have to implement the protocol property defined in our protocol. Okay, and now the error is gone. Okay, now let's see how we can define a function inside our protocol. Okay, so func keyword. Okay, let's name the function say hello. Okay, its return type is string. Okay, and return hello here. So now again we are having an error here. Okay, why? Because again I told you we can only define a function inside our protocol, and here we are implementing the function. Okay, so we can't have a defined function, a declared function can't have its body and these curly braces. Okay, so now it's okay, now the function is defined inside our protocol. And again it says my class doesn't conforms to the protocol, my protocol. Why? Because if a class adopts a protocol, then it should implement all the functions and properties a protocol have. Okay, so let's implement this function, say hello and return. Now the error is gone again. So after performing this practical, we know how we can define a property inside a protocol, how to specify whether it's a read-only property or read-write property, how we can define methods inside protocol. Okay, so that was the basic about protocols. Okay, so now let's talk about protocol-oriented programming. Okay, so let me ask you a question first. Okay, what's the first thing introduced to you when you were learning object-oriented programming? Okay, so that first thing must be the class. Okay, so in object oriented programming everything starts with the class. Okay, suppose you are creating an object oriented model which includes bicycles, bikes, cars, etc. Okay, then first of all you will create a class vehicles, then you can create subclasses like bike, bicycles, cars, etc. Okay, so in object-oriented programming, everything starts with a class. Whether in protocol-oriented programming, everything starts with a protocol. So if you were dealing with the same model in protocol-oriented environment, then you have to create a protocol for vehicles first. Okay, then cars, bikes, and bicycle classes can adopt that protocol. Okay, so let's try protocol-oriented programming practically. Okay, so suppose if you have to create a model to handle a list of players from different sports. Suppose we have cricket player, basketball player, baseball player, football players, etc. uh, and we have to create a single model to add a player to the list, to remove a player from the list, and to filter the list of players from a particular sports. Okay, so and we have to create this model in a protocol oriented fashion. Okay, so let's start. Let's clear it up. So what I told you about protocol oriented programming, that the protocol oriented programming always starts with the protocol. Okay, so what all these players have common, what cricket players, basketball players, baseball players, what's the thing common in these players? The common thing is that they all are players. Okay, so we can create a protocol named player. Okay, so every player will have a first name. Okay, every player will have a last name. Okay, and every player must represent a country. Okay, we can also create a function to get the full name of the player. Okay, get player full name. Okay, which returns string. Okay, so here's our player protocol is ready. Okay, so let's create player who can adopt the protocol player. Okay, so struct cricketer. Okay, let's create another type of player, struct footballer. Okay, so there are two type of players are here now. Okay, which can confirm this protocol player. Okay, so let's adopt this that protocol. Okay, player player. Okay, so we have created structs here Okay, you can also create class in place of structs. Okay, so it's your choice. Okay, so now it's saying that cricketer doesn't conform to protocol player. Why? Because protocol protocol player has some defined properties and functions which are not implemented by cricketer. Okay, so it does not conforms to the protocol player. Okay, so let's implement all the properties and functions that we have in our player protocol. Okay, so copy it, paste it, initialize it. So we have implemented all the properties of the protocol player. Okay, let's implement the function defined in protocol player. Okay, so let's return the full name in the function. Full name will be including first name plus a space, then last name. Okay, so as you can see, the error is gone. Okay, so similarly these properties and functions can be implemented by footballer. Okay, so both of these classes can add some additional functionalities uh, to themselves. Okay, like a cricketer could have high score, which could be of type integer. Okay, similarly a footballer could have total number of goals. Okay, so now our protocol player is ready. Okay, two different type of players are ready. What we need to have now is we need to have a list of players. Okay, so that we can add different types of players to that list. We can remove players from that list. We can even filter that list to get a particular type of players. Okay, so to create a list we will create an array. We can name the array players. Okay, now the question arises here, what should be the type of this list? What should be the type of this array? Should it be the cricketers? Okay, no, it can't be cricketer, because if the array would be the type of cricketer, then we can only add cricketer to this array. We can't add footballer to this array. Okay, so what should be the type of this players array? Okay, uh, let's learn a new thing about protocol. Okay, that is protocol as a type. In Swift, protocol can be considered as a type just like string and integer. Okay, so we can use protocol as a type in Swift. Okay, just like if we can create a property of type string, then we can create a property of type protocol too. Okay, suppose if we can create a array of strings, then we can create an array of protocol too. Okay, because Swift considered protocols as a type. Okay, so uh, as we can read this point, so you can use protocol as parameter type or a return type in a function. Okay, or you can have array of type protocol and you can do whatever you do with a type. Okay, but a protocol can't be instantiated. We can't create the object of protocol. Okay, so suppose if I've created a variable named random player. Okay, and it is the type of protocol player protocol. Okay, so how we can initialize it? In this part of code we just declared it. How we can initialize it if we can't create the object of protocol? Okay, how this random player gonna be initialized? Okay, so the answer is we can populate the variable random player with the object of any type which conforms to player protocol. Okay, so suppose if cricketer conforms to a protocol player. Okay, then we can assign the object of cricketer to this random player object. Okay, so here uh, we can have the array of type protocol player. Okay, so now it the players array accept every object which conforms to the protocol player. Okay, so now let's create two players. Okay, so Here are the two players. First, I have created a player uh, with the reference variable name Sachin. Okay, it's a cricketer. Its first name is Sachin, last name is Tendulkar, country India, highest score 201. These are just random stats. Okay, so similarly, I created a footballer with the reference variable name Messi, and first name is Lionel, and last name Messi, and country Argentina, and coach 325. Okay, so let's add these players to the player array. Okay, players array. Players dot append. Okay, let's first add Sachin. Okay, now let's add see. We can even iterate this array very easily for player in players. Okay, so player will represent a single player. Okay, while iterating. Okay, while iterating we can also get the type of the player. Okay, we can use the switch statement here. Okay, so we will switch over players. Okay, so case could be that player could be the type of cricketer. Okay, if the player is cricketer, we can print is a cricketer. Okay, the player could be footballer. Okay, in this case we can print is a footballer, and in default case we'll simply break. Okay, so this is how can we iterate this players array, and this is how can we can detect the player type through by using switch statement. Okay, we can also filter this players array very easily while iterating. Okay, suppose players array will be a mixture of different type of players, and I only want is cricketers. Okay, so let's see how we can filter this. Okay, for player in players. Okay, where player is cricketer. Okay, so this is how I can filter the players array. Okay, very easily using a where statement. Okay, so this is all about protocol and oriented programming for now. Okay, we started by creating a protocol, then we made other types to adopt our protocol and implement its functionalities. Okay, then we used protocol as a type, and then we performed operation on that type. Okay, so the last thing that we can implement about protocols here are protocol extensions. Okay, so let's see what are protocol extensions. Okay, as I told you that properties and functions can only be declared inside a protocol. They will be implemented by the type which adopts that protocol. Okay, but there's one more way to implement these properties and functions, and that is creating protocol extensions. Okay, so let's create one. Okay, to create an extension we use the keyword extension, then use the type of which we want to create extension. So here we created the extension of our protocol player. Okay, so inside this extension we can implement all the properties and functions of our protocol. Okay, so we can simply replace the implementation from each type to this extension. Okay, now we don't need to implement this function here. Okay, so protocol extension provide the default implementation of this function get player full name. Okay, so this default implementation will be provided to every type which adopts this protocol. Okay, so suppose uh, cricketer adopts this protocol player, then Sachin, which is the object of cricketer, okay, can access this default implementation of get player full name function. Okay, let's explore a few more things about protocols. Okay, so protocol inheritance. Okay, protocol inheritance says that a protocol can conform to other protocol. Okay, a protocol can adopt another protocol. Okay, as you can see, the player protocol adopted the name protocol. Name protocol had two properties, and player protocol had a single property. So finally, if a struct class or enum adopt this player protocol, it has to fulfill the requirements of both the protocols. Okay, so protocol composition says that a protocol could adopt multiple protocols. Okay, so it's like multiple inheritance. Okay, so like here, as you can see, player protocol adopts two protocol, stats and name, and here are these two protocols with two properties each. Okay, so finally, when a struct adopts the protocol player, it has to fulfill the requirement of all the protocol composition. Okay, so this is about protocol inheritance and protocol composition. Now let's move to last thing that we will learn about protocols in this episode is confirming protocol through extensions. So suppose if you have a view controller and you are adopting UI table views inbuilt protocol, UI table view delegate and UI table view data source, then you have to also implement the required functionalities of this protocol in your view controller class. And your view controller class may already have some of your business logic of your app and UI logic of your app. Okay, so implementing the protocol requirements in the same view controller class could make the code bit congested. Okay, so there's a better way to implement such protocols. Okay, uh, we can create the extension of your view controller class. Okay, and we can adopt the protocols through extensions. Okay, so through this you can separate the code of implementation of requirement of your protocols and your view controllers own logic. Okay, so this was the last thing about protocols. Okay, so that's it about the protocols from my side. You can learn other things about the protocols on your own, like the use of mutating keyword, use of objective c keyword. Okay, so if you've learned anything from this video, please like our video, subscribe our channel and share our videos. So bye bye for now, see you in the next video.